I mean, obviously, there's a cost of living crisis at the moment, and I don't want you to be dispensing your expertise for free. But if people are sort of struggling at the moment in their relationship post festive period, is there any advice you'd give them in how to, proceed
with financial struggles or in general?
With sort of a relationship struggles, difficulties with one's partner? Is there sort of a baseline to work from that you should sort of at least try to before you potentially sort of go, that's it, I'm done, I'm out?
Sure. Well, I mean, without going into a book's worth of information on what we know about relationships and what it takes for them to be successful, I think there is one primary principle that we all need to learn, and that is a gentle startup. So whenever you're presenting a concern to somebody, you're going to be far more effective if you start by describing your own perspective and experience. And when I say that, I don't mean saying, I think you do this and this and this, or I feel like you are being selfish. That has nothing to do with you. That's just judging or analyzing another person. It's really difficult for us to take the analysis of our partners out of conversations. We do it so automatically, we don't even realize we're doing it. And it is so insulting. And anybody who hears themselves being analyzed and doesn't feel like they get a say in what's actually going on with them is going to get defensive. And then when our partner gets defensive, we get pissed off. And then we come in harder and more critical. And then they tend to shut down if they're getting flooded, or they're going to get angry and say something nasty. And then we're left wondering why we can't ever talk to our partner. But really, the way we start that conversation, over 80% of the time, it is going to determine the way the conversation ends. Meaning that you may even get heated in the middle, but if you started gently, taking responsibility for your own feelings, owning them simply as your own perspective, and not coming in as if you're stating facts, you are very likely to end that conversation on a positive, cooperative, sort of friendly note. So an example of this might be, what was one that Ty and I had recently? We do this a lot, and it's never smooth. I always think if my clients saw this, the reality of it, it's always a little choppy, and we give each other chances because can I swear in this?
You can, absolutely. Okay. We're an adult okay. Show. It's fine. Okay. Yeah.
But we're going to fuck it up no matter what. I mean, it's never going to be this smooth. The Gottmans do these beautiful role plays online, and I practice something called the Gottman method of couples therapy, started by John and Julie Gottman, two lovely psychologists. And they do these role plays online, and they're just adorable. But in my version of this stuff, it's rough. I'm married to an Australian. He gets stubborn and angry, and he also feels, this is one message I'd love to give deceased couples out in the world. Women, when you're bringing up a complaint to a straight male partner, they have been raised to believe that it is their duty to make you happy and assume responsibility for you. So they are much sweeter and simpler than we give them credit for. And if they get defensive, know a little bit that part of that is because they feel like they've failed in a very profound way. And if you can give them a shot to shine for you, be very specific about what you want from them rather than telling them globally all the ways they're failing you. It's almost like, I hate saying this, but it's almost like a sweet dog that really wants to please, but they need to very specifically know the task that you're asking them to do. Very specifically. It needs to be precise, specific, and something they can do rather than something you want them to stop doing. And that's a gentle startup. So we start by saying, hey, babe, I noticed that you didn't run the mail out like you had said you were going to. And then you can add your own emotion toward it. And you're not allowed to say angry or frustrated. Those are cop-outs. There's always something beneath it. You could say, like, I felt a little bit stressed out when I saw that because I've got so much on my plate with work right now. Then throw them a bone or a compliment in the same thing. Like, I know you're slammed as well. Do you think that you could run them out this afternoon? And make sure that there's room for compromise. So if your husband says to you, I'm actually tied up this afternoon, I got a couple jobs, he has the opportunity to say, but, and then this is also the recommendation for the partner on the receiving end, offer a compromise. I'm happy to run it out first thing tomorrow. Sorry, babe. And then you say, no problem. You're so considerate. I love you.
I really like I like the dog analogy. It works well for me. I get that. I get that. So again, not to oversimplify what you said, because I think I follow it. So is it more about sort of expressing how something makes you feel? So personalizing it to you rather than complaining about someone else's behavior.
Right. So I think the most important thing is understanding that each you and your partner have your own perspectives and that neither of your perspectives are facts. So let's get away from treating a relationship like a courtroom where you're each presenting evidence of why you're right, and start seeing your partner as your friend, somebody who is committed to the relationship like you are. I think that's what's shifted with me and my husband since we started doing Gottman couples therapy. Poor guy, dragged him in like first year of our relationship. But I think that both of us run hot, but there's sort of this principle that we honor, that we both care about the relationship, even if it feels like we want to burn it to the ground. So feelings aren't facts. If you're annoyed, if you're irritated, just present it to your partner. This is my perspective. I noticed this. I'm not sure what your intention was. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I noticed something. It made me feel stressed, or it made me feel left out, or it made me feel unimportant. And then counter that with a compliment of why you know that's probably not the case. Like, you're usually incredibly considerate, or I know you've got a lot on your plate. Even if you don't feel that way necessarily in that moment, what you're doing is you're kind of anchoring yourself back to the idea of like, why do I want to be with this person? Why is this relationship important to me? What did I fall in love with? He is actually a considerate person. Even though the mail's not there, it doesn't mean he's a complete fucking asshole. And I'm going to throw the whole thing away because I'm having a bad day. So be gentle like you would be with a friend.
This is fascinating and fantastic advice, and I could talk to you about it all day. I'm almost, for the first time ever, regretful that we have to head to our virtual cinema, because I could listen to this. It's genuinely very, very interesting. But